not covering it. I'm not covering it. Hey there, it's me. Greetings. Hey. Hey, Haru, can you see me? Because I don't see myself on the screen. I can't see myself on the screen. Can you see me? Well, I was just sitting here thinking about some things as I usually do, and sometimes I lose that thought when I decide to go live, but I wanted to go over some aspects of some things I realized about the illusionary world. What do you see? What are you seeing? Just black? I don't know. I bet you. I would hope. I just got this and I was hoping that the camera wouldn't have no problems. Let me try this. Let me see. Let me see something real quick. I'm going to test. Total darkness? And this is a refurbished iPad I just received, so I guess the camera doesn't work, but anyway, I'm not gonna let that stop me from talking today. So I guess that's what happens when you get I'm gonna have to figure it out. Maybe I don't have access to the camera. I thought I said give access. But anyway, some aspects I wanted to go over. Hey Nicole, how you doing? About the illusionary, I'm all about the illusion, this world being illusionary, and us not realizing just how weak and fragile and easily breakable it is. It's more easy to break it than we think, because we all have been so mind effed up, messed up in our minds, that we believe or we fall for the trick. Yeah, we fall for the trick that it is our reality. But once we start learning more about ourselves and realizing that we are actually more, and our thinking is higher than the thinking of this place that we're in, and that the majority of the issues we've been having in our lives is because we have conformed to a lower part of ourselves instead of reaching for the higher part of ourselves. The lower part being the flesh, the higher part being the soul. Now, with that, we still need balance if we want to make it. Because once again, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And we don't want to ever neglect either. We don't ever want to neglect either. Because both is very critical and both are very important to our mission once we leave this place and go to the next dimension. And what we need to realize is we need to get on top of this thing so that we can have the experience that we want. And if we look at Greek mythology, which isn't necessarily Greek mythology, it's our mythology. If we look at it and we look at Prometheus and what that story shows about what happened to us as a people, as as a spiritual people, what happened to us when we in our beginnings, to our ancestors in the beginnings, then we can understand just how powerful we are. Yeah, they perverted all our stories because they had free reign because they were very strong in the physical because they are strong beings, been stronger in the physical. But that doesn't mean they're stronger than us in the physical. We just have new shoes on that we need to wear. And being that we were asleep or dormant for all this time, they were able to take advantage. So now's the time when that dormancy is waking up and awareness is becoming stronger. We need to empower ourselves individually and work very diligently at meditation, becoming more open to the psychic part of us, the intuition part of us, the spiritual part of us, and not falling for the lies and the 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 things that make us think that something is fairy tale or something's, and makes us feel like this concrete way of life is more stronger, which is not. It's not more dominant. It's not more any more stronger. As we can see, with the volcanoes that are happening and other things happening around the planet. Now we know for a long, long time we felt for the how do I want to say it? The belief that Caucasians were more powerful or more stronger in some shape or form. And our people fell for fear tactics, them selling wolf tickets. But we failed to look at certain things. Yeah. We failed to look at certain things, certain signs of their weaknesses, and use it to our benefit. We failed to use things as for our benefit. And one thing I see is that the psychology that they utilize, the psychology that they utilize. Now, also the fact that it takes 10 of them for just one of us. It takes a whole crowd of them for just one of us. And it's crazy. Yeah, Pan, and also Oedipus, the Oedipus syndrome, which Cynthia G always speaks of, but we don't know it as the Oedipus syndrome. We don't, because it's the father versus the son over the mother. It's the and when I was in school, and we did when I was in college, we did a theater play, an Oedipus play, and so happened we had this incredible and talented black man. He played Oedipus, and I thought that was just the most superb play. I just loved the way he played it, and it was pretty much about the mixed race male being more loyal to, so close to his mother, and that he would kill his father. But see, stuff like that gets hidden from us. But we were prophets. Our people saw way down the road. Our people saw way down the road. And the thing about it, a lot of these preachers and stuff, they're preaching like this stuff is past stuff that happened. None of this stuff is past stuff. This is stuff that they foreseen in our falling that was going to happen to us. But the Caucasians, the dead man, took it and made it seem like it was something that was telling the story of something in the past. But it wasn't. All the stories. I'm thinking even the mythology when they talk about the different races. Because look at what we have now. We have different things going on, you know. So it's not I really believe everything was prophesied, and we are what they prophesied. It was no other people. It's just us. And I don't take all of it literal, because I know most of it is just has a whole different meaning than what it really means. And that's what I mean by Oedipus. Had a whole different meaning than what they tried to make it. And Clash of the Titans, because we were the Titans. All of that. Hey there, Captain PYT. How you, PY2? How you doing? Oh, let me see. I'm trying to see what you were saying, and it went off. Okay, you said the Caucasus Caves man is always recycling and prolonging things to make him. Yeah, but this is the time and this is the end. That's right. We are the time. Yeah. This is the time and this is the end. And I'm so ready. I'm so ready. And it's high time that we reach in and grab up all our great energy and all the things we have great about ourselves and use it to our advantage. I think it's very, very, very important that we do that now. Because we have to stop feeling like we got to stop allowing these things to stifle us, because we got to think, if we were trying to achieve something, we would, as the song says, ain't no stopping me now, ain't no stopping us now, we're on the move. You know what I'm saying? We're on the move. Ain't no stopping us now. That's my favorite disco song in the day. um but there's been so many things that's held us back. Hey, well, hey, I'm tired of being held down. Yeah. If you ever been held down before, and no, you refuse to be held down anymore now. Hey. So, it comes a time when you just have to rise. We have to rise up. We know who we are, what we are, and what we're capable of. Yeah, they were singing a powerful message. That's why, you know, there's certain ones back then that sung some powerful messages. There's another guy, and I looked him up on YouTube, and I'll be jamming off his song. I got it. Keep rising to the top. Give it all you got. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. You see, songs like that. So there was lots of them that were just singing. They just had it. That was powerful. That they were utilizing their power. They didn't know what it was, but it was expressed out of them. They listened to the voice that told them to write that song, to play it, that music a certain way. And they didn't know what it was, because the time wasn't time. So they were before the time, and now it's the time. But those of us who were awake and aware then, they just motivated us to keep on moving, that things were going to change for us, and things did change for me a lot in my life. Let me tell you how. It made me wake up, a hard awakening. I was always one of those people in school wanting to succeed, I wanted to, I fell for this illusion, and I felt like it was my whole life. The material world was my whole life. It was nothing else outside of it. But once I realized and I could let go, it was so hard to let go. Letting go was like dying. Letting go was just like dying. And I felt like I died. And I fell into depression because I lost my life, everything. I felt like I lost everything. My career. And that was a hard blow. But I had ancestors with me. The best way I can describe it is the ancestors. They were there all along. I wouldn't listen. I fought them, but they were determined to have things their way. It wasn't my way, it was their way. So I had to let go and move on. So it was the hardest thing. Yeah, spiritual rebirth, definitely. And then, I searched. I still believed in God for a while then. even though I got called sacrilegious, everything else, yeah. And then my soul started when I was in California, because I was there where you're from, Nicole Ali. That's where I broke down. That's where my career fell apart, and I was separated from the material world and put into the spiritual world in California. And I knew about the history of California, Cali, Queen Cali, and a heathen, yeah. And so I embraced everything, I embraced the time I had alone. It empowered me. It empowered me. I went to talk to psychics. I talked to psychics, the fake psychic. Um, I went into magic stores when I was there, and they were pulling me there. They were pulling me there and pulling me into the unknown and what I thought. So, and then I had that dream, the spiritual dream, where my soul took me on a voyage through the spirit world. And it was like spiritually, I was in between, maybe I was in between worlds. I was in between the physical world and the spiritual world, pulling the physical people who well, my soul was doing all the work. It's pulling people, and it was bullets flying all around my soul. There was bullets flying all around my soul, and I remember feeling fearful that my soul was able to, because I guess I didn't realize at the time that it was my soul, but bullets were flying all around it. And I was flying. It was actually taking me, jumping like Matrix, jumping like it was jumping like Matrix over buildings, over saving people. And I was fearful. The spirit was fearful, because there's a difference between that spirit, the animate us, and the soul, the real higher powered us. But the power was so strong that I feared that soul, because I never seen anything like that can jump buildings, and that could dodge bullets. And in the midst of all these bullets flying, and you know, it was like, and what got me was, it was going back into it, and not giving up, relentless, going back and forth, going back and forth. And it was just that experience. I mean, it felt so real. And that's when I realized that it was me finally coming in contact with my soul that's been leading me, that's been awakened. Like they say, your third eye is open. That's the third eye. That's Haru, the soul. Our soul is Haru. So I finally had that opened, and that's when I finally listened and allowed it to guide me. And it guided me, because I don't think I ended up driving all the way from California to back to the East Coast all by myself, and that it was a at first it was kind of fearful, but then I was like, no, no, don't carry no fear. So I didn't carry no fear as I went to Route 66, and uh, that's the alien route that they always talk about. And also they talk about the spiritual activity that happens around that area. So I didn't I loved going through uh Las Vegas. I loved going through all of the rocks, and I did that at night, and it was just amazing. It was scary but amazing. But like I said, that's where I had my awakening, was in California, and I think it was very, very powerful. It was very powerful and very empowering for me. Hold on. But I just think that that's what it calls for. It calls for letting go of something that our ego is so attached to. And once we drop that thing that the ego needs, and that thing that empowers the ego, because then I sat back after my ordeal, I sat back and I realized that something about myself, a lot of things about myself that I learned and I realized that gravitated and was possessive over that career, that was obsessed over that career, that wanted to be all that she could be in that career, and analyzed why. When it wasn't even something that was compatible for my higher self at all. It wasn't the star. It wasn't what me as a star was born under and for and stood for. It didn't represent me. So my energy was being wasted. My energy was being wasted. So they just pretty much tugged and pulled me from that and redirected my energy towards what I needed to be doing more. Because success isn't about money. Success isn't about anything that we can think of in this illusion. Success is about making sure that we are helping, and that we are helping our people see their highest potential within themselves, and have the knowledge about ourselves, and are not falling for the tricks and the lies and not being stifled, because we can be stifled and stuck in a situation. We can be stifled and stuck and not progressing forward. And that's the whole trick, is to stifle us in a situation and not allow us to move. And that hurts the spiritual part of us. That hurts. Hey, COG, welcome. That hurts the spiritual part of us. And we got to take that in deeper consideration. We got to utilize everything that we've been gifted with. We got to know, like I said about astrology, that is very, very important to know, be knowledgeable about that. We got to stop allowing other people to be the know-all of who we are, of our stories, of our mysteries. And we have to take and become the authority of this existence. That's the way I feel. We have to be an authority over our existence. And leave them in the dust. Leave them in the dust. We can't allow them to stifle us over trivial things. We have to empower ourselves and move on. Become the stars that we are. And we don't need Hollywood to be stars. We're naturally stars. Quite naturally stars. And stars, they shine and they're awake and they're powerful, and that's what we need to be. In the past, we may have been falling stars, but now we're rising stars. Stars do fall, but stars can rise. And we have to be those rising stars. Certain aspects we have to look at carefully. Examine them, because we just have to meditate and think. When we meditate and think, we can see those aspects. And we can do something about it. Hey, Ron Redbird. Yeah, we can do something about them. Like, not carry fear within us. You know, there's no need for us to be fearful of anything, you know. We're not out here doing anything, and we're not out here needing a whole crowd of people to back up, you know, for wanting to go out here and mess with people. We don't live like that. That's a savage way of life. So we're not a pack of wolves running around looking for meat. You know, we're more than that. So being that we see that, being that we see that, we know that the physical is not as strong as we think it is in our minds. We know that it's weaker than we think we know. And understanding all the dynamics in that and what follows behind that weakness. Because one thing leads to another. Because then we see that they need weapons. Why do you need weapons against, when we look at the past, why would you need weapons against a group of people that never had weapons? It's got to be something about these people that is really fearful. Why do you fear the dark face? Why did they not allow us to look them in the eyes? They didn't allow us to look them in the eye because our eyes were powerful. Mind control. We have the power of mind control. Aleister Crowley wanted so much to be a black person, black being. Unfortunately for him, it just wasn't in the cards for him. And he hated and despised being Caucasian. So he took on a lot of our things about us and studied our mysteries, and he put it to work. But his people thought that he was lunatic. They took him as lunatic. He was. He was sick and he was lunatic. But seeing that he did it, achieve, putting to work, a lot of our things like mind control and which pretty much we could say that all the Caucasians are pretty much, that the higher ups are pretty much these so-called elites. They're pretty much utilizing that. They're pretty much utilizing everything that we have right now. They're utilizing it upon us, our own things. Me and a friend was talking today because I do not worship a God. I do not do that. I told him, please don't pray for me. It's like something's going to happen to you. Now, I used to think that. But I went over, I had a video yesterday called Man-Made. Man-made. And the mind is a powerful tool. And he said, you're going to get hit by a car. Something's going to happen to you. And I told him that God had never done anything for me. And nothing has happened to me. I have I've, pretty much in my life, I would say I wanted something to happen. Nothing happens. So, um, we are pretty much, I really see that we have to get out of that mindset that something outside of ourselves is going to do something to us or for us. Because everything's man made in this illusion, we don't realize it's tailored that if you think in that mindset, then it will be that it will happen because it's like magic has been done against us. Our own magic has been done against us. And basically, the more you want something else outside yourself to do something, the less you get. Now, there's people who actually know this for a fact, like preachers. And I want to say Creflo Dollar is one of them that knows this for a fact. Because if he didn't know it for a fact, that there's no God but himself, he wouldn't have the power that he's utilizing over the people to get the money flowing, currency, his direction, his way. If he waited for this sole invisible God, he wouldn't have this money. So he knows that it's the power within himself that gets it done for himself. So it's a trick. It's a game. It's an illusion. And I had stopped believing that there's anything outside myself that is going to do something. I know everything is within myself as a black person. But then there's people that still prey upon us when we believe in things outside ourselves. And when we stop relying on a job that is taking up our energy, that is weakening us, keeping us too busy in our minds, keeping us too busy in our minds to focus on empowering ourselves and coming in contact with our higher self, then it's a distraction. And if it's not contributing anything to us, it can even be contributing something to us, but at the same time, it can be taking so much away. That's why it was always important for us to know, to understand our astrology, to understand what we were good at, what we needed to do, what we were put here for, what's our skills. All that comes from the star we were born under. Here you go. All that comes from the star that we were born under. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to get in a quiet place so I can think. All right, I'm back. But hey, S. Wiseman, I'm taking my daughter out of school after she graduates. Hopefully, she graduates to the 6th grade from 5th grade, and I'm going to stick with that curriculum. Time for learning. I really like it, so I'm going to utilize that, and for her, and probably for the younger one too. Thank you. Thank you. I need that support. I need support to get out of that. But yeah, as I was saying, some things are a distraction, and school is the most. It's. I mean, if you can get education out of all the stress for these young kids, that's what I had to do. It was like a jungle for me, and in middle school was like a jungle for me. So I think that's when I had my hardest time was in middle school. And high school was, it was just adjusting to being around a larger crowd of people. But middle school was just something else. Bullying, picking, it was just horrible. But, and then you're growing, you're developing. So I'm so glad to be pulling her out in middle school before she gets started in middle school, because I know her situation can only get worse. And it's been a tough road for her. So I'm letting her in her elementary years and moving her to homeschooling in the middle school years. So she should be hopefully more able to learn better like that. But I still want, I still want her to be able to have a social life, you know, because that's very important to be able to socialize. So, um, uh-huh. Okay. Hold on. It's a lot of chaos. What do you want? Okay, there you go. Your state has excellent. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna look them up and I'm gonna try to get involved. There you go. There you go. That's mine. But like I was saying, we have so much about us that we need to explore, exercise, and put to use. Don't get caught up in the spookism, because it's nothing wrong. It's they, in the churches they talk about the spiritual world, but they're not spiritual. They talk against it, and most of the time, and the dad is. They don't understand the dad. The dad is not really dad. The only thing that's dad is the Caucasian being, the physical beings that walk around without a solar system without the spark, without the fire within them. That's dead. All other things, such as us, is very much life. Even when they transition, they are not dead. So the souls stay even more alive. This physical body dies, and they are able to transition to another dimension outside of this physical existence. And that doesn't mean that they're less powerful or it's a less place than here, because it's a greater place than here because they're free. You're not bound by the body, by the physical body like we are. But you're not bound by this physical body. But there was a time when we were in between, and we were powerful when you're in between. So if we can get that, if we can get that which they've been, we have to get our minds off the dead and what they're doing and because there's a reason why they do what they do. There's a reason. And we know the reason. We know the real reason, the real true reason. And that's all that is important, is that real true reason. That means that we're more empowered to be all that we can be, regardless of what comes against us, regardless of what we see, we hear, and regardless over whether we think they have the control, because ultimately we should know that they don't have control. Although we, in our minds, we are tricked to really, truly believe they have control. Because the mind is a tricky, powerful thing. So we have to try to overcome that weakness of seeing this stuff as being greater than ourselves and being stronger than what we are. It's not. It's not. It's a falsehood. It's not. This place is not. And yes, things are getting crazier. Lunatic, more psychotic. So that in itself is a sign for us that we're moving along in the right direction, away from it. So if you look back at it, you can say, okay, I am doing the right thing. I'm leaving the illusion, and nothing can convince me otherwise, because it is getting lunatic, more and more loony every day. I know that I was looking at what's his name? The one who has the black oh, what's his name? The one that talks black business. Yeah, I can't think of his name right now. But I was looking at him in his interview with the lady, and they were talking about today. They were talking about how a man proposed to his girlfriend of 6 years at her graduation, and he said, one lady said it was a selfish act, and she got 12,000 likes for saying that this guy was pulling a selfish act by proposing to his girlfriend of 6 years at her graduation. Well, see, that's what stifles us as Black people in our relationships, in our uh, empowering ourselves, is the thinking, the dead thinking of the Caucasian. Once again, it's a stopper. It's a it's a stopper, and it's distraction, a distraction from the Black love we need to have. It's a distraction from the being progressive that we need to be, and growing and going and upward, rising up higher. Hold on. Come on. Come on. Yeah, it's a distraction from where we need to be headed. Because it's a simple celebration of, a young lady that finally graduated and was finally beginning her new life, and her boyfriend of 6 years wanted to share in that with her and wanted to, be more to her. And there's nothing wrong. There's never nothing wrong with that. Never nothing wrong with that. But we got to realize what mind that's coming out of that's saying there's something wrong with it. It's not coming from our minds. Just like, who else was I listening to? That we're talking about today about the thinking. Uh, what's her name? Her and her husband was on to, I think, was it today that her and her husband was on talking? The goddess. But I was listening to her and her husband, and they were saying about different way of thinking that the Caucasian has compared to ours. And it is different. The radical sister, yeah. The thinking is different than our thinking. The thinking is different than our thinking. And like yesterday, when I was telling about my experience with the officers and dealing with my child, See, we can't live like that. We can't live two different worlds trying to give another world advice that stifles us. It stifles us. You see. Yeah, their thinking stifles us and they know it. So when we come out of that thinking and we realize we have to go with what works with our biological, the better off we'll be as a people. And the more stronger we'll be. But I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. We are in the midst of this, but being in the midst doesn't mean that it's hard to come out of it. It's hard to be. I almost had it on the tip of my tongue. To be a set aside people. It's quite easier than we know. We are unique, very unique, and powerful, more powerful than we know. And it's important and critical that we come out of the thinking that will weaken our resolve and we become more in touch with our higher self. We need to become more in touch with our higher self. I really, really feel that. Know our higher self and be one with our higher self. That means we have to have balance. We have to keep that balance. It's challenging, but it's not impossible. And to do that at all. But I'm not going to stay on too long because my let me see something. My children are getting restless and time for them to go to bed. But we just have to realize we have two different aspects of ourselves, and that's the spiritual and the physical, and we need balance in everything we do. And know the difference between dad things and things that are very much alive, real. What's real and what's dad. And once we do that, we know that we don't need to spend a lot of energy on that dad thing. Because the dad thing is a waste of our time and our energy trying to decipher and to understand it. It's not, because it relies on our attention and our energy towards it for life. I really believe that that song in the 70s, You Make Me Feel Mighty Real, was a message. Sylvester, who sung that song, they loved that song. They gravitated towards that song. But he had a deeper meaning in that song. See, he was in touch with himself, with the aspect, the God aspect of himself, which was neither male, neither female, but he played it. And that's why they killed him. He played the illusion, optical illusion. So it's amazing. If we look, we can see that some of our people were awake back then, that they were aware of things. And even now we have some people that were aware of some things that are no longer here with us. But it may have known some things, but still was in the midst of, instead of pulling themselves out from being in the midst of, and not listening to the spirit world when the spirit world was telling them to not fall into the trap of being connected, of having a connection with him, as they did, dealing with Hollywood. But for me, I don't want to build with them. I want to build with my own people. So I almost had a career in Hollywood, but I had to, after I lost my big career that I really loved, but Hollywood was like a backup. But I realized my soul just felt like that wasn't the place I wanted to be. That wasn't what I wanted to do. And I feel like I made the right choices.
Mama, what happened?
I feel like I made the right choices there. And what they say is family is everything. And family is a lot. It is everything. It's more precious than gold or anything. Anything materialistic, more precious, more fortunate than anything. So when we take the time out to look up, I know lately here I've looked up more than anything. And get off this, China. Get off of it. Leave it alone. And lately here, I noticed the moon comes out. Well, yeah, I know most of us aren't ready to rise to the spiritual, but we have to, because we have to rise to the spiritual as well as we are rising with the physical to keep that balance. and that empowerment. We have to listen to those voices. I watched a movie yesterday what was that movie called? Yeah, which isn't. Yeah, still stuck on what passes for reality, which isn't. Yes. We're stuck. We got a stronghold on those things. And this movie really touched me because it was talking about a young girl. It's on TV1, but they show it free on YouTube. And yes, it's worth it to rise higher, rise above, because we have something they don't. So we have to utilize that to our benefits. We have to progress ahead and not allow this to stifle us. There's going to be a whole lot of stuff that's thrown in front of us to stifle us from rising. I think Morgan Freeman, Bill Cosby, all those things. But we got to realize that's a lost cause. When somebody goes with Hollywood, falls into that trap in front of and you know those traps that they set out in the woods where if your feet hit a rope, sometime it would hang you from a tree. You'll dangle from a tree by foot, or a mouse trap. We can call it a mouse trap. We have to realize there's mouse traps that had been set. And if we haven't felt for it, we're the ones that need to start rising above all this around us and not pay attention to the fake wizard behind the curtain. You know what I'm saying? The fake wizard behind the curtain is really a short, weak Caucasian that needs 40 men to hunt you down and chase you and drag one man out of the house. So, knowing that knowledge, we need to not pay him attention. And the things that is doing like that. And our attention needs to be focused upon what's going on with the planet and how we can contribute to the work that the planet is trying to do. And how we can raise ourselves up spiritually and make ourselves more stronger in that aspect of ourselves as well, so it can seep into the physical for us and benefit us. Because that's what we want to do. You know, we want it to benefit us. You know. And that's the whole thing. That's what we were given it. The gifts. You know, everything has its gifts. You know, in nature we see things that have gifts. And they're able to naturally utilize it to their benefit. Well, we haven't. We've been like tamed and controlled and told and having a frame of mind built of brick and mortar, brick and mortar, so that we can't break it and see past it. But we have to break through that and rise above this. And I don't think it's hard. I don't think I don't think it's just easy to say and hard to do. I think it's easy to do just as well as it's easy to say. It's easy to do those things because it's I mean, I miss I miss out on a lot of things, you know. I miss out on a lot of things. Like, I don't even know if Bill Cosby got sentenced to prison or not. But I listened to Nicole's view, and because I missed the sentencing. But because a lot of times I'll be sleeping a lot. So the spirit world, when you sleep a lot, the spirit world is dragging you back there. So you actually are going to the spirit world. You're going there when you're sleeping a lot. So you miss out on a lot of things. When it's just saying you just need a lot of rest. You need, you know, to go there to combat all this stuff we see in the physical. So, you know, and I think that's where I go sometimes. But that's where we all should go. A lot of times we need that rest. Rest is very important to our melanin and to us. Um, Sleep is very, very important. So,
Mama, I'll wash my shoes. I'll wash my shoes. Wash my shoes. I'll wash my shoes. Please. I'll wash my shoes.
you need to put those on. Yeah, genocide. Yeah. But the whole thing is they can't genocide us because the planet needs us. And without us, they won't have no solar system. They wouldn't have nothing. So this planet would be in the nothingness. So it would be nothing. You would go back to nothing. But that would be good for us because we will just be free from this body, from this place that they can't get free from. So it's really not, they need the illusion to make us think that death is a horrible thing, that the physical is very real. So they need that.
No. No.
That is very critical and very important for them. This is why they highly depend upon our minds to be controlled and to see this world for what it really, for what they want us, the way they want us to see it, not for what it really is, but for what they want to portray it to be, portray everything to be, and they need it like that. So let me get off of here because I gotta get these kids to sleep. It's 10:13. So I might go live tomorrow. It's Friday. So with that said, family, true love, real peace, and remember that higher self within the soul. Until next time, take care, meditate, and lift up the higher self within, the Heru, awaken, and be it and see it tonight in your sleep. Find out what you need to be truly doing, who you truly are, and be that. Love all. Bye.